call that?
I don't feel very well.
Madness, suicide and murder await the most haunted team in Lancashire. Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. We've come to a manor house that's seen more than its fair share of misery. So much so, the dead are still after some answers. With poltergeist activity, phantoms and full apparitions, I just had to bring you to Samlesbury Hall. Located 3 miles east of Preston, the original hall was destroyed by Scottish troops following the Battle of Bannockburn. Rebuilt in the 14th century, it stayed in predominantly Catholic family hands until 1850, when it briefly served as a public house and then a boarding school. Neglected and near to demolition, it was saved by trustees in 1925 and now serves as a public museum.
The building goes back to 1325, when Gilbert de Southworth built a medieval hall house here. Part of that still exists to this day.
As well as unexplained voices, the shape of a white lady has been seen walking through the Great Hall. Also, the figure of a dark shape has been seen here too.
About 3 months ago, I was pushed in the Great Hall. I was walking through and came to the fireplace, and I definitely felt a real push in my back. Went forward and it felt strange.
People feel frightened and uneasy in this, the priest's room, so called because a priest was actually murdered on this very spot. Ever since then, a blood stain appears on the floor for no apparent reason. A dark shape has often been seen walking behind me in this room, the parlour. It's said to be the ghost of a young man called Joseph Harrison, who committed suicide here in 1878.
He was a big businessman in the area and he renovated the place. And at least on one occasion, Charles Dickens actually stayed here in the house with him. But he was an unfortunate man. He spent too much money. He went bankrupt. And he blew his brains out with a revolver somewhere here in this house. So it's pretty obvious that his ghost, amongst others, must haunt this place.
I heard these steps on the stairs, and the steps must have come up about 25 stairs, quite deliberate steps. Shod steps, it wasn't bare feet, and they stopped at the door I was in, and of course I said, is there anybody there? There was no answer, so I opened the Victorian servant's door and there was nobody there at all.
It's not just the inside of the hall that is supposedly haunted. The outside has a secret all of its own. Many years ago, 3 people were murdered here and secretly buried, and their ghosts have been seen roaming around the grounds ever since. So is Samlesbury Hall haunted? We have 24 hours to find out. Joining our investigation in Lancashire is parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe, who will be casting an impartial eye over tonight's events. But what are his first impressions of this ancient location?
Kieran, here we are at Samlesbury Hall. Now, you've had a chance to look around the whole of the property. Is there anything that sort of strikes you as being strange already, or anything happened to you?
Yeah, I've done preliminary baseline tests in all of the haunted rooms. The room that I'm particularly interested in is actually the priest's room. Mainly because of the eyewitness accounts, all seem to be quite negative reports and a feeling of unease and just a sense of presence.
Now, there's a lot of people saying that they've seen apparitions here, they've heard lots of voices. So what sort of experiments will you be conducting this evening?
In terms of the auditory phenomena that's happened, the easiest thing to set up is simply a tape recorder. So we'll just have to check back on that occasionally. The apparitions is a lot tougher. I mean, thankfully, on an investigation like this, we've got a lot of cameras around. So if the white lady, who is the apparition that people have seen, if she does appear, you're perhaps increasing your chances somewhat, and certainly making a very strong, concerted effort to catch something on film.
We have invited 2 spiritualist mediums to participate in this investigation. Both Derek Okora and David Wells were brought here separately, and neither have had any previous knowledge of this building or its dishonourable past. With everyone eager and excited, it was time to reveal the hidden secrets of Samlesbury Hall.
This is my favourite room in the whole building because it's just so beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although, walking into this atmosphere, this ether, it's like, well, it seems to be the smell of, like damp cloth or cotton. And I just feel as if, I'm not saying there's bales of it around, but I just get that, you know, coming up at me.
No, I can't smell anything.
Can you not smell anything?
No, the only smell that I'm getting is remnants of maybe when the fire was on the last time.
Okay. I really don't feel it's that, but you know that. Also, as you know, I'm picking up is that we've got movement here, activity, not just the residual energy in this great building, and I'm becoming more aware of a wandering, a feeling of wandering, going through rooms, and the feelings of with a lady. Mm-hmm. And this lady, if I may use these words, to me it feels like as if she's in some kind of tormented mind. And she's not resolved whatever it is that's been tormenting her. And I feel she's been around this building for a lot of years.
How many years back would you say?
At this point, I'd say hundreds of years, probably. Right. But a very nice soul. I feel a good soul, but a woman who's got this, I don't want to say vengeance, but a little bit I was picking this up even as strong as what I am now, and this feeling of not being able to forgive something that's happened in her life. And yet, I feel as if my head here now seems to be throbbing and aching, and I seem to be losing my vision. And I feel this must have happened to this lovely lady, going back in time. What caused this, I don't know at the moment.
Would you be able to find out if she passed over naturally?
Okay, I'll ask her. Did she, Sam, did she come over naturally? She passed away. She what? She passed away from here. Why? Did she belong to this building? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She was forcefully sent away. She was forcefully sent away.
How old was she when this happened?
How old was she? His words, a young woman, a young woman. She wasn't even at the prime of her life. She was locked away.
Locked away here?
Was she in prison? Was here? No, not here. She walks around this building, still, oh God, bless her, cursing who? Cursing her father? Cursing her father. Her father. For what he did. For what he did. For what he did. She's searching for her love. She's searching for her love. What does that mean?
Do you want to walk
Can
further?
we, please?
Yeah.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. We've got a man who is John, who Catholicism, the faith is so strong in this atmosphere. And his thoughts are covering up her thoughts. In other words, she's walking around freely and she's cursing her own father. She's cursing her own father, this young woman.
What did she do before all of this happened? Did she have a job here? Did she live here? What was her interest?
She was a lady.
Right.
The lady? She's the lady. She walks outside. She goes around the perimeters of the gardens. And she's still searching.
Can you give me a name?
Can you give me a name, please? Lady Dorothy. Lady Dorothy?
Mm-hmm.
Lady Dorothy.
Derek's description of this wandering spirit did seem to coincide with previous reports of the so-called White Lady. Thought by many to be Dorothy Southworth, whose Protestant lover was murdered by her Catholic father, to this day, her forlorn spirit is said to reside at the hall. As we move through to the parlour, it is Kieran that notices that the atmosphere is starting to change.
Everything all right, Kieran?
Yeah, it's just there's an obvious temperature difference between this room versus the other room. I think you can subjectively feel anyway a slight drop in temperature, and it's just a degree drop.
Would that be because the lights are all on in that room and maybe there's no lights on in this room
possibly,
at all?
and we were staying in there, and also there's a door open at the
Right.
far end of the room.
Okay, all right.
We just entered this atmosphere here, and everything was taken away from me. In the view of the crew, all of us, and suddenly I see a lot of people in this area. They're all sitting round, and they're all drinking ale, and a lot of them were falling over, and a lot of them were shouting and singing.
Sorry, did someone whistle then?
I heard something.
I heard something coming from that direction over there. It seemed to sound like a loud whistle or a scream of some description.
Did you hear it,
Just a
Kieran?
girl.
Can I just have a look in here?
They're all sitting round, and they're all drinking ale, and a lot of them were falling over.
Kieran decided to investigate a squeaky door back in the Great Hall, where it was thought the whistling came from. However, the team were not convinced.
It wasn't that. I heard that, but that was a creaky door. It wasn't I heard a...
That wasn't what I heard.
It wasn't the same
No,
sound.
it was a...
Okay.
With no one else in the building at the time, the whistling sound that many of us had heard would for now remain without an explanation. Would this be an isolated event, or for some of us, just the start of a night filled with fear?
I'm not bad, I'm not bad!
Having spent just a brief time at Samlesbury Hall, Derek has started to sense the building's religious past, as well as the spirit of a lady called Dorothy, who seemingly endured a bitter and painful feud with her own father. Still perturbed by the mysterious whistle heard in the parlour, we decided to head upstairs towards the long gallery, in the hope of further clarification.
You know, coming up into this area as well, I get this, what seems to be following us. And this is not residual energy. I feel that this is active spirit energy, thinking energy of where we're going, of an individual. And what seems to be happening, I know it may sound silly, but it's like as if I'm getting water thrown from the back of us over our shoulders here. And that water, I feel, is symbolic. So it's a loving, caring, religious energy. And the person, I feel, a man who, without a doubt, and he goes all the way through this building, and I just put him in the faith, a very, 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 very strong faith. So strong that nothing would waver him. And I feel, the only way I can describe it is as if he's a priest.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, I feel, as if he had to, I don't feel a man to denounce what he believes in, but he had to be very, very, very careful in who he talked about his faith. And I feel there are times, not even just on this upper level, down, because he used to go further down to the level he moves about. I feel he could be quite active at times, but he would not show himself in what we call a manifestation or development of the full spirit body.
Okay.
But probably moving through and making noises as well. A lot of noises.
What sort of noises?
You know, walking, scurrying. And I feel that speed, he would leave the upper levels in his time and go right down, because he was going from these levels with a feeling of being scared and rushing down to get to an area, get there, and it's like as if him arriving and he's feeling safe. But at times he didn't feel safe on the upper levels. I feel there's also, oh, listen to this now.
Mm.
Oh, whoa. There's a man here, maybe it's the same person, the same individual man, the priest, because he's definitely got garbs on, clothes like a priest.
Mm.
But there seems to be a memory with this man going back 1566. So there are two priests here. There are two priests here. They're separate from, I feel, maybe 100 years difference in time. One of them moves about and he believes in his faith and he will never be moved from that. But there's another man of the cloth he walks around tormented because he was murdered.
Where was he murdered?
Can we walk through,
Yeah.
please?
Sure.
Can we walk through? Sure, Sam. Are you sure? Okay.
We appear to be surrounded by a lot of spiritual activity. Perhaps the priest's room would offer us further clues.
And just as we enter this here, Ivy, the energies are very strong, still of his movements. This is definitely a man of the cloth, a priest, a Catholic priest, I feel.
Are you talking about the second priest or the first one?
No, I feel it's, I feel that this could be the second one, this
Okay.
now. I feel the other priest was wanting to lead us up here. The first priest, okay, Sam says here, just call him John.
Okay.
This is John. And he loves here. He loves here. But the second priest here, as we're coming, and I feel he manifests here. He's in torment. And can we go through into this here?
Go on, you go.
And this is quite, I mean, sorry. This is quite horrible in here because as we've entered here, all I'm picking up on the residual energy, it seems to just be, and I can see it, and it's not budging at all. You're going to say, oh, horrible, but there's nothing here other than as if this whole floor is just covered in thick blood. Thick blood, a big pool of it. And that pool of blood has come from a human being. And I feel here, please, that this priest has led me here to this other priest. A priest lost his life here. He was murdered. His life was taken from him.
So Derek had sensed the separate spiritual energies of two priests. The first, Father John, appears untroubled, a stark contrast to the aura of the other religious figure. Intriguingly, of all the rooms that David Wells had earlier visited, it was here that he had felt a tragic event from Samlesbury Hall's past.
Some kind of sadness, I don't know why. Almost like a duty he had to perform, a sadness he had to perform. Whether it was I have to go with what I get, it's really hard. It's like an execution, you know, it's almost like an execution.
These revelations only add to the tension amongst all of the crew as we switch our cameras to night vision. But would this be the only bloody demise that the hall has to offer?
I've just been mentioning to you a moment ago, Ivy, that since walking up to the higher levels, I'm very aware of a spirit man, active. He's followed us up, or he's following us up here. He's going alongside us now. And I keep on mentally inquiring, and he's not forthcoming and wanting to talk, but I am aware he's with us. He's around you and Kieran and me now.
Is he?
Yep. And maybe because we're coming up here to this level, I don't know, may have something to do with him. Now, I don't know what it is, but what's coming to my mind here is that up in this level, it seems as if my feelings tell me something hidden. Something hidden, something hidden. So whatever this is, there's something hidden. Is it a physical thing? Is it a mental thing? I don't know. But something hidden as we come up to this level. Who? Right. the spirit person that's followed us up to this level, whether he belongs here or he's got a fascination here, is... Sam, go on. Sam says Joseph. Joseph. Go on. Joseph left his physical body here. So he never passed with natural death. Okay. Right. The one that's followed us up here committed suicide.
When did he do that?
When was that, Sam? Can you get that information? Go on. 1, 8. It looks like 7, 8. Is that 1878? 8. That looks like 1878. He's
Why
giving
did
me.
he kill himself?
Why did he do this? Okay. It appears that he was, do I say it that way? He liked to spend lavishly. He was a person that couldn't cope with the idea of not having enough revenue for something. And I don't know whether there was a feeling of shame linked with this or whatever at the time. Okay, he wants to be known. He wants to be known.
What's his
Joseph Harrison. Joseph Harris, is it? Or Harrison? Harrison. Harrison.
How did he kill himself?
How did he kill himself? Shot himself. He shot himself. He shot himself.
Derek's sensing of another tragic figure from the building's past has added yet more apprehension as we all prepare for the night vigils. Samlesbury Hall has a bloody past, and we were soon to discover that some of its victims don't want us around.
Mate, what the fuck was that?
I don't feel very well.
It seems that family betrayal and religious hatred are still prominent in Lancashire's Samlesbury Hall. Kath and Alex begin the night vigils in the cellar, a room where none of the crew had previously ventured. But what sort of welcome would they receive?
Do we want to shut that? No, we'll leave that door open, shall we? Yeah. Okay, the door is shutting now. It's almost like a taste of wood. Yeah. Can you talk? Yes, can I? Hello. Oh, here somewhere. Hello, people, I don't know. Is there anybody here in this room with us? Is there any spirits that are in this room? What's that? No. You alright? No, I don't feel very well. Alright, come on then. What's the matter? I just heard that noise. I feel really weird. Do you? Yeah. Right, well, I don't want to be down here with you when you feel real sorry. Shall we go back? Let's go back. Come here, hold on. You alright? Yeah. I just want to get out. Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door, shut the door. Jesus, that was really weird. I know. It's like my whole body just went. My neck feels really stiff and everything. It just frightens me to think, you know, if anything, if we're on our own and Alex, something happens to Alex, I'd just shit myself. Let's go back and maybe Carl can come down with us or something. Okay.
With Kath and particularly Alex too scared to return down there, Carl agrees to explore the cellar on his own. Could he uncover the source of this second bizarre noise?
So the problem is, it is scary down here. It is scary because it's dark and it's quite spooky, I have to admit. Is there anyone here? Ooh. But chill then. Is there anyone down here with me? Is there anyone that would like to make their presence known to me? If there is, try to make a sound. What's that? It's a spider. What the fuck was that? I caught that. Me messing about with a spider, and I've just heard some footsteps right here. Hello? It wasn't here, it couldn't have been on. Hello? Anyone there? Definitely heard something. Is there any spirit entity down here that wants to make themselves known to me? Come on. Come on, if there is a ghost down here, I'll make you famous. Just show yourself to me in this corridor. You'll be bigger than Elvis. Providing you're not, actually, Elvis. Fuck me, what the fuck was that? Something just hit. Something just came down, but...
On this occasion, a small piece of debris falling in front of Carl could be attributed to paint flaking away from the ceiling. However, the clear sound of nearby footsteps in an enclosed cellar is far more worrying. Not surprisingly, Carl makes a hasty exit. Psychic David Wells had joined Stuart, John and myself in the parlour, where we decided to attempt table tipping. With so many discontented souls around us, would any of them take this opportunity to come forward?
Is the spirit of Joseph here? The man who killed himself in 1878? If you can hear us, please step forward. Please do us the honour. Dorothy, if you can hear my voice and you want help, if you want to stop the suffering and you want to leave, then please move the table so that we know that you can hear my voice. You all right, David?
Someone's really trying to take me over.
Are they?
God, they're trying to... I've never experienced... I can hardly control my lips. They're trying to take it over. They're trying to... He, it's a male. They're trying to take over my mouth, my face, my head. I think they've realised they can't get in directly, so it's like he's behind me, sticking his head in mine. Got a real fight on my hands, sorry.
You're right.
He's just really angry. He wants me to shout at you, Yvette. He's pulling me forward. He wants me to get right up there. And I won't do it because it's not in mine. You know what I mean? It's not in my nature. But he really wants... He's just asking you to go. He's really angry. He wants to go.
Shall I carry on talking? Or
Yeah.
not?
Even if it's antagonistic, it's fine. I think I can hold him.
Okay.
I think it's Joseph. I really think it's Joseph.
Joseph, if it's you, if you can hear my voice, please come forward. I don't mean you any harm at all. Neither does Stuart or David or anybody else in this room. Please move this table.
So angry.
Is it Joseph?
The spiritual energy that David has felt could well be that of the former landowner that Derek had also encountered earlier in the investigation.
He wants to be known.
What's his son?
Joseph Harrison.
Joseph.
Harris, is it? Or Harrison? Harrison.
How did he kill himself?
How did he kill himself? He shot himself.
Rather than moving the table, this entity clearly prefers to communicate directly with David. Placing himself in a trance-like state, he bravely decides to allow this spirit to channel energy through his body.
I'm just going to open up a dialogue with him, set ground rules, so he knows what the limits are. Saying too many people ridiculed him and his life. From his mother, his father. When he was a child, women dominated his life. When he found one he could love and thought he loved him back, he was betrayed. It was just too much. Doesn't want our help. Just wants us to, in his words, fuck off. And to take your parlour tricks and stupidity with you. I'm going to withdraw because I can't... This negative energy that doesn't sit with me.
You're right.
This brief but alarming encounter had left David drained and his audience a little worried. We suspected that events may be about to change, but none of us knew just how dramatic they would become.
He's the devil! He's the devil!
So far, our investigation seemed to have centred around Samlesbury Hall's parlour, where David Wells felt the presence of an angry soul. With everyone gathered into this room, we decided that holding a séance may summon further contact from beyond the grave.
Okay, everybody take a deep breath. Try and think about what we're here for, why we're here. Are there any spirit people here in the building that can hear my voice? If you can, please try and come forward. Please try and communicate with us. We have 2 mediums here. Try and channel them, try and use them to communicate with us too. Joseph, if you can hear my voice, please try and talk to us. Do you need help, Joseph? We know that you tried desperately to be happy, but it didn't work. You killed yourself in 1878. Please come forward, Joseph. Someone tap on the table then? Like a kind of... Did you hear that?
No.
Like, you know, someone moving their fingers like... ever so slightly.
I feel really, I feel very light. I'm having a bit of a problem staying in, really. Staying in my own body. I have a male behind me. He's tapping me on the head or just brushing my head. There's 2. I've got a male and a female now. And the really odd thing about the female is it sounds a bit mad. It's a head. Her head seems really big. I think it's her hair. I hope it's her hair.
Did you hear that?
My hair does.
Footsteps.
Which direction were they coming
To
from?
me, it was coming from...
I heard that. It came from
Yes,
over that way.
yes.
As soon as David started to talk, I got a real cold breeze right across there.
Maybe it was the female energy. Maybe she's more active.
Mad! I'm not mad! I'm not mad! I'm not mad! Open the door!
Who are you? What's your name?
Dorothy! You know my bloody name.
I don't know your name.
You blood do.
I don't.
You do, lady.
I need you to tell me.
Southworth! South bloody worth! Southworth! Southworth! They say I'm mad! I'm not mad! Don't feed me! And no food! My father! I hate him! He's the devil! He's the devil! He wants to crush him! He says he's of God! He took him! He's good! He killed him! He killed him! Why? Why am I trapped here? Why? Why?
This violent and bitter outburst from the supposed spirit of Dorothy Southworth had left Derek in a state of exhaustion, and he was forced to leave the room, unable to join us for the final vigils in this investigation. Earlier, David sensed a strong male presence whilst we attempted table tipping, and although cautious, Richard, John and myself decided to follow him upstairs in the hope of discovering more.
There's just negative energy here. I don't know what it is. I'm not picking up any spirit beings, but the energy is negative. It's sickening.
No, I don't like it. Yeah, it's really spooky. Oh God, who made that noise then?
What?
Did you go?
That was the car coming.
No, it wasn't.
No, didn't you go? Did you size?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
God, I heard that.
No, I didn't.
I heard that.
What is it about this room which is so scary? I never get scared.
But I heard a... Oh, I did hear that.
The noise wasn't made by any of the crew, and it was David who was to identify a possible source.
This is where the little man lives most of the time. Do you want to tell me where he is?
What?
Yeah.
Up there. He's in that corner.
What? Floating?
He's actually sitting in the roof.
Oh, my...
In the roof?
He's sitting up in the corner like that.
Like
No
what?
way.
Like this.
Oh, God, please, that's
That's how I
horrible.
feel because he's covering the whole room with the energy. I can see you, but I want these people here to sense you, feel you, hear you. Help me. Oh, he's down, he's here.
Where?
He's just here. This area here where it's cold. If you walk here, you feel cold right here. He's quite here. He's about there. The energy's about there. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah. Just slightly cold.
Oh, yes, I can. Yes, just ever so slightly colder.
It's just
Here, John.
slightly, yeah.
Just here. Just there.
I had this image of a...
Like a gargoyle.
Yeah.
No, it's not
So
quite
did I.
like that.
This sounded quite sort of...
He's kind of impish like that.
Yeah.
He's impish. He seems impish to me because I guess because of his size. He's very small.
Despite David's graphic description of this little man, he was unable to determine who this character was. We decided to head back downstairs. Our investigation appeared to have reached a peaceful conclusion. As we reached the bottom of the stairs, close to the parlour doorway, both David and myself had heard a deep sigh right next to us. The sigh had shaken all of us, but this was just the start, as almost immediately David felt a strong energy try to control him.
My throat. Oh my God. Who are you? No, you can't take me over. I won't allow it. I'll speak for you, but no. I won't allow you. Pick me up. Move me. Move a chair. No. You will not enter my body. God, he's powerful, I tell you. He's very powerful. You know what it was? It was almost like if I'd given into it. It's died down now. It's not so bad now.
Oh, God.
If I'd given into it, he'd have went. That's what he would have done. That's what he would have done. No, but seriously, that's what he wanted me to do. It was like he was grabbing me and going like that.
Yeah, to get us out of here.
Yeah.
This sequence of events had terrified me, feeling shared by John, Richard, and particularly David, who narrowly avoided being possessed. But to make matters worse, half an hour later, as Carl was leading another vigil back downstairs, Kath and Alex heard an almost identical sound in the same part of the parlour.
We both heard something in here.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, yeah.
That's what Yvette said she heard in here. It was,
Although this noise hadn't been recorded on camera, the fact that only Carl had been aware of my earlier trauma on this exact spot only added to the mystery. It proved to be yet another twist from an intriguing 24 hours in Lancashire. On several occasions during the night, Stuart had tried to capture Samlesbury Hall's ghostly white lady, said to roam the grounds and even the nearby main road.
That's the spot where the white lady's been seen standing, apparently waiting for a bus. The bus has pulled up. Obviously she's not gotten aboard.
Nothing was caught on this or any of the additional cameras that were constantly monitoring the rooms throughout the night. However, the fact that both of our psychics had made spiritual contact with violent and unrepentant souls had made this an investigation that many of us will find hard to forget.
And the end of a different investigation. Derek did get possessed by the spirit of Dorothy Southworth. David picked up a priest that was actually sitting up in the rafters looking at us. We came downstairs, and then lo and behold, something breathed heavily in Yvette's ear. I think it even frightened David.
The breathing that she reported could be some sort of natural source. It could have been something, some draft from the window, or we cannot discount the possibility that somebody who was in the group may have breathed a bit harder than they normally did, but weren't conscious of the fact.
It was certainly not me, it certainly wasn't David that breathed in her ear.
There were various anomalous sounds heard during the investigation at Samlesbury Hall. We cannot discount the possibility that the footsteps may have been some sort of creaking or may have been plumbing. However, the loudness of it makes it a bit difficult to say that yes, that would be the natural explanation.
Samlesbury Hall may exude reverence and sacredness, but its history of treachery means that some spirits can never forgive their betrayal. Until next time, sleep tight.
For a chance to go to the Science Museum's IMAX cinema for a spooky film in 3D, have a private ghost walk with Most Haunted Live's Richard Jones, and spend the night at Langham Hotel, just log on to livingtv.co.uk/competitions and answer this simple question. In the latest series, the Most Haunted team visited which European country that's associated with tulips? A. Switzerland, B. Portugal, or C. Holland? But stay tuned to Living TV, because coming next, it's Most Haunted Extra.